because dating tests you. I mean, it is, woo, it's like douche, douche, douche. Like you feel, woo, you're like, okay, I don't know. I need like a full on vest right now.
Right,
Like,
right.
whoa, you're coming at me. Whoa, I'm feeling some type of way. I don't know if I'm ready to go out there. I got to put a shield on. I mean, you have to be mentally, physically, spiritually ready.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Talks with John. We are back, and today we have a special guest. Actually, my first guest. Her name is Nēssa Eugene. She lives in Los Angeles. She's also a speech language pathologist. We met through a mutual friend about a year, 2 years ago. And anytime we link up, we have the most interesting, thought-provoking, perspective-shifting conversations. And one of the things we always talk about is dating in LA, our dating lives. And I thought she would be really great to have on the channel. So I'm really excited to talk with her, and let's jump into the conversation. Nēssa, how's it going?
Hi. Hi, guys. I'm good. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. This is super exciting, super challenging for me, for sure. But I'm excited because that means I'm growing. How are you doing?
I am good. You know, today I had to film at USC. There was like a student film or something, like a short film that I was in. And it was really nostalgic being on a school campus, like a college campus. And yeah, like it made me want to be in school again. It was weird.
What? Not school again.
I
Oh,
was
wow.
looking at the kids on campus and I was like, they have their whole lives ahead of them. Like I remember that feeling of just being so career focused and school
Right.
focused. I didn't have fun in college, I don't think. I didn't have a good enough time in college. Like it made me really want to be back on campus.
I think that with our profession, there was no time for play. And
Right.
especially for me, I don't know. College, undergrad was fun. Grad school got real quick.
Right. And
Yeah.
it went
And
by so fast, too
yeah.
fast.
And I mean, again, like, that's why I'm learning how to date because of those academics, and focusing and being driven. And yeah, this is why at 28, here I am learning a vital lesson for me to become a wife.
So, okay, speaking of dating, if you could sum up your dating life in 3 to 5 words, what would they be? Like right now, your dating life in 3 to 5 words.
Okay. I would say it is exploration. It is me becoming an adventurer to figure out who I am and who I really want to be, what I
Okay.
strive to be. Discovery,
Okay.
love, self, and a challenge.
A challenge.
Yeah.
Can you tell me where you think the dating culture is right now? Like, what is the dating culture? What does it mean to date? Like, for example, we know everyone always talks about how we're in like hookup culture, right?
Mm.
How we have the dating apps and there's so much temptation. It's really hard for people to focus on cultivating one relationship. Like we always talk about this, how you meet someone, everything is going well, they seem interested, there's chemistry, you're going on dates, you're taking trips, and then it's like, hey, you want to see a magic trick? Poof, gone. You know, they're not there anymore. And it's like, I think there's also a culture of like people disappearing. And I don't know why that is, but whatever. What is your perspective on where the dating culture is right now?
So I think dating in LA overall is different than a lot of the other states, for sure. I think specifically with dating in LA, it is, you are in a playing field of people that are self-discovering themselves, right? So they're discovering who they are, and then they're discovering their career at the same time. So they have to try to figure out that balance consistently. And so the dating culture now is whatever is convenient for the lifestyle. So a lot of people right now, because they're building self and they're building their career, there's no time left to figure out what dating is and how to go about it, essentially. So right now it's conveniency.
Something
So
quick and convenient.
does this go with my lifestyle? And with that, I'm not going to set many expectations to devote so much time to this. I'm more so just going to say, hey, if it works 1 hour, if it works this week, next week, if it works for these 3 months, great. I love it. It's a convenient lifestyle. It's like, you know what? I am going to reap the benefits of dating and getting attention from people. And then I'm going to leave because maybe this isn't satisfying for me anymore, or I don't have the time anymore because I just got this new gig. So, and I don't want to communicate that because a lot of people might feel that it is taking away from the time that they could be devoting to themselves or their career. So it's very convenient. I mean, nowadays, friends with benefits is super popular, right?
Yeah.
So none of that emotional attachment being there, just really looking into, hey, this is a physical need that I need really quickly. I'm gonna need you to see your way out and
Right.
I'm gonna go about my business. Or it's more so, hey, it's an emotional connection, right? And it's like the benefit of emotions. And maybe you're not having sex and you're just kind of cuddling with that person, or maybe you're spending a lot of time with that person, but not committed to a relationship. So new dating is very convenient and it does not require any type of commitment.
Or communication, like you said,
Or
because
communication, right?
the lack of communication, it's like you meet someone and it's going so great, and then all of a sudden, like, it just ends, and you're kind of left to figure out what happened, if it was you, if it was them, if you did something wrong. But like, I think you're answering a lot of questions for me, because I think dating is convenient for me right now too. It's kind of like, I don't want a serious commitment because I'm so focused on my career and figuring out what I'm trying to do in life. But I'm a communicator too. But
Right.
we're not here for me. We're here for you. So,
But honestly, though, like, just to piggyback off of that, I think what we fail to realize is that dating is teaching us where we are within ourselves. So we shouldn't be making it something that's so convenient without really reflecting on what's happening. Because when you really think about like when you have that emotional intelligence to really think about what that is causing you emotionally, to have someone come inside your home, be intimate with them, then have them leave so that you can go back about your business. That is affecting you emotionally without you even realizing. And later on, you will still have to figure that out. There's no ways to go around it. Everything in life, we can't skip any steps. We're always going to have to go through it, regardless if we have to go back to go forward. But I think it's so important to realize dating is learning more about who you are. And it's not more so of getting to know the other person. It's more so getting to know yourself. And I think that a lot of us don't think that way. But essentially, those acts, you're doing that to yourself, not to that person.
you're giving some good stuff too soon. Let's
Oh,
let's no, this is good. This is really good.
no, it's good.
Okay.
No,
No,
yeah.
it's really good. This is really good. I love
Oh,
it.
we
I
can
love
get
everything
deeper.
you're
Don't
saying.
worry.
Yeah. So I love what you have to say about the dating culture. And I'm really interested to know how that culture shapes your dating life right now. But first, I want to know, what were your dating beliefs or traditions growing up, and how did your family influence them? Because, for example, growing up, I grew up Christian. I'm a preacher's kid. Religion was a major part of dating, especially for the women like my sisters and my cousins. You know, for the women, it was all about, waiting for your Boaz, waiting for, adorning yourself as a woman, being like Esther in the Bible, and, being this perfect woman and not letting anyone touch your body and centering yourself. And that man will come. Were was your dating were those your dating traditions, or yeah?
Okay. So growing up, I was super nerdy. So my main focus was achieving all the things that my parents were looking for me to achieve. So I am Haitian American, and because my parents immigrated here, I felt that pressure to make sure that I could do everything in my power to be the best, right? Whatever that was at that time. But I focus more on like academics, right? So thinking about dating, having curiosities about dating, I wasn't into it that much. I will say that I learned a lot through watching my older sister date around, right? And just kind of being more of an observer than actually interacting with the dating world. But I always remember having an opinion about, women and men kind of like interacting with one another. I feel like observing so many different scenarios over and over again growing up took a toll on me to really be confused emotionally about, why are people acting this way, right? And I didn't understand that love could be blind, right? And then also thinking that it was so much simpler, if you just follow these rules, because I was so focused on academics. So I was more logical about things than anything. I wasn't looking at a lot of the emotional sides. Now, when it comes to like my parents didn't date. It was more so, hey, I have a crush on you. You always help around at home, right? Let's just make it work. Okay, great. So then it's just like, there's no dating involved. It's just, I have a crush on you, or you look really great. Let's explore, kind of thing.
That's how your parents met.
Yeah. So my parents actually,
Interesting.
yeah. So they met in Haiti, and they knew each other for quite some time. So what ended up happening was my dad had the biggest crush on my mom. My mom was like, go away, I'm focused on my studies type thing. And she ended up saying yes to my dad. And what ended up happening was she went to Mexico and he went to Spain. And my dad followed her to Mexico. So we have that masculine energy of the chase, right?
Right.
So it was nice to know about that chase and how beautiful, how beautiful it is when you do love someone. The act of going after what you want was really nice to hear growing up, for sure.
Did that shape the way you felt men should show up for you? Was that your point of reference for how dating should be initiated? A guy should chase a woman, or there should be some sort of chase prior to the start of a relationship.
To be honest, I had no expectations for men.
Okay.
Because even with my parents' story, growing up as I got older and older, it was my mom that gave in that a lot of that masculine energy. And so, yeah, I have to say, like, when I was growing up, it was more so it would have been nice, right, to get that attention from a man. And but I wasn't thinking deeply about what I wanted, what I needed, what it entails. I think it was more so, you're cute, let's be friends. And I was on like this friend basis for many years because I had that ultimate goal of achieving what I had on my agenda, essentially. Now, that's not to say that I didn't have crushes or flings or whatever, but it's to say that my main priority was honestly to Finish school.
Finish school.
Get me out of here.
So watching your sisters, you said that you gained from their experiences. What were some of the things that you learned about dating, learned about men, and how did that shape what you expected when you did eventually start dating? When did you start dating, by the way?
So real dating, because I honestly feel like there is the casual dating and you're not even aware that you're dating, and then there's an intentional dating. So
Right.
and when I started to intentionally date was not until I moved here, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
that's
this was like
about 5
way
years
after
ago.
oh wow. Okay.
So so intentionally date. Now I think what I was doing before was the casual dating and then wanting to go straight to a relationship rather than going through, you know, the certain processes that you need to go through for um to be a wife, right? To build a strong bond and look out for certain foundations to make sure that, you know, this is going to be a long-term thing. This is not a temporary thing.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So your focus primarily was just casually dating, having crushes, you know.
Honestly, dating was not a thing until I got to LA, to be completely
Wow.
honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you moved to LA, what was your expectation for dating?
I had none still.
Wow.
So I'm coming from Connecticut, right? An intense program, and I am looking to just be free at last, right? So this was honestly my moment to live my best life. um, so I moved on a whim, basically, and what ended up happening was just me discovering more of who I am. And so it gave me an agenda to be my best self, and to be under the sun and enjoy the palm trees around me. Life was so simple, right?
Literally, right.
Literally, like it was just like, thank you, I can breathe now. And then it wasn't really until, right, like I was situated in LA where I was like, okay, now we have men coming up to me. Now we have these different demands as I get older, right? And even conversations around me of people wanting to be in a relationship, including myself, of course. I mean, at this point, I was 20, was it 23, 24, 24.
When you moved to LA?
I think I was 23 when I moved to
Okay.
LA.
Wow. I didn't know you were here that long.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. So now watching my sister, because we are 6 years older, she's 6 years older than me. So there's a 6 year difference between us. She was more of like a mother role for me, but a young hip one, right? And with watching her date, I noticed how emotional dating is and how much emotion it really entails. And I always thought, I'm like, man, my sister is so emotional, right? Because I am so analytical. I am like, I'm all about the logics. That's what academia taught me, right?
Right, right.
The book, these are the answers. You go in that book, you find that answer. Whereas there's no handbook for when you're emotionally involved with somebody.
Right.
So I honestly, when I was watching her story, I was very confused, but I was so willing to understand because it was a different world that I didn't get to tap into yet. Yeah, for sure.
That is so good because it's the same. I was extremely hyper focused on school. I didn't have time to date. I think we have very challenging careers. The studying
the balance. It's hard
right.
to balance.
There was no balance.
Right.
It was just study groups, friends, and class. And I learned dating from friends and also watching what they were experiencing. So why was it so emotional for her? And like, why was that your take on her dating experience? Emotional.
Well, because I was observing so many different shifts in her emotion, right? when something were to happen in the
Mm,
relationship. When, it's just like the cause and effect of relationships and how
yeah.
that can emotionally affect you. And how like emotionally intelligent you have to become, essentially, to be very cautious that you're not affecting you're not affecting your independent life, right? Because I feel like a lot of us get so caught up in
Yeah.
relationships, right? That we start neglecting ourselves just naturally, even in friendships too, right? I mean, but yeah, it was, again, you're talking to a little girl who is reading books all the time, trying to do like great, have straight
Right.
A's, and then looking at someone who is emotionally involved with people. So again, it's like this textbook girl was looking at a whole different universe and saying, whoa, what is going on, right? And there's no handbook to it. So I was
Yeah.
learning that there's no handbook to it. Yeah.
Okay. So you moved to LA. What were your goals? You said men started approaching you. You're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. What were your goals and what did you think dating should look like for you?
So I feel like thinking about like my transition, I moved to LA. I started caring about me and making sure that I was okay. Then I started exploring different types of books. Then I realized, oh my goodness, I'm going to start taking on some of these practices and see what happens. Then it became, okay, wow, I really value being my highest self and I am reaching out for that. And then it came to, okay, now I'm dating. So now I want to quote unquote master what dating is supposed to be. So then what I ended up doing was, okay, I read all these books, but then I need to go out there and experience and figure out what's going on. What I noticed was when I'm interacting with men, essentially it's a mirror. I'm interacting with myself. So what ended up happening was I was like, wait, I thought dating was having the right questions, right? Making sure that I really get to know this person. I'm quiet, right? I'm mysterious, right? I'm that mysterious girl that this man wants to come and find out. I'm catering to him, whatever the quote unquote tricks are supposed to be when it comes to dating. And then I really realized I like sat back and I was like, oh no, what do you want, Nēssa? Because now you're in chaos because you're listening in to all these tips of what other people are saying, but it's more so like, what do you want? How do you live, right? What does your lifestyle look like? Do you have any expectations? And with those expectations, are you expecting them from yourself? So it turned into all the things that I started looking for in dating, I needed to achieve myself. So, and that's the biggest lesson that I learned as I learned more about me, and then making sure, hey, the only way to really truly achieve dating or interacting with this world is knowing who I am.
Okay. So what were some of your personal experiences that caused you to get there? Can you talk about some personal experiences you had during your dating phases?
Um, it was definitely when I started noticing that they weren't in alignment with what I valued. While I was getting to know myself, I started creating more of my definitions of what I valued and what was important to me. So I know that I am like the ruler of like my kingdom, right? Of all the work that I've done for myself. And so when people weren't in alignment with what I've created for myself, that told me, whoa, I don't know if this is the person. And even if I were to openly talk about it to see if they were aware of it, and if they could even match it, that was another like, okay, wait a minute. So one example definitely is I went on a date maybe a few months ago with this person, and what ended up happening was I could sense the insecurity that was going on.
In him or you?
In him.
Okay.
So what was happening was he was talking a lot about his career, and it seemed that he was very nervous because he didn't know what I was looking for in a man in their career, right? And for me, I'm like, hey, we're just here to get to know each other, you know, like no pressure. But it was the same conversations that kept looping around, which told me that this person was an overthinker, and that they were indecisive and they didn't know what they were really looking for. And so for me, in my kingdom, right, the things that I'm working on, I know what I want. There's no indecisiveness when it comes to maybe career, right? Or just knowing certain things that are important to me. So I would pose questions for this person to see, you know, where their mind was, if we could dive a little deeper. But then I noticed, I said, wait a minute, I'm not a healer. You're either here or you're not, and that's okay. And one of the biggest thing that I did that, I mean, I was very proud of myself, but I was also happy that it resonated with this person, was when I had told this person, hey, it's not going to work out. You're a great person, but I'm looking for something different. And for him, it was interesting to see him because what he ended up saying was, what did I do wrong? You see, you didn't do anything wrong, right? But you're in this space of fear that, and you want me to comfort you and heal that part of you, right? And for me, that's like, that's not my job. I want to meet you halfway. We need to meet each other halfway. There needs to be some reciprocity going here. We should be going back and forth. We should be learning from each other. And not to say that it's bad to be indecisive. I mean, there are things where we don't know the answer to, right? And we're trying to figure it out. But what was happening was it got to the point where he was so indecisive that he could no longer focus on getting to know our connection. And that's a problem for me because we just met. I shouldn't be hearing this yet. Yeah, so that was one. Another one, definitely, I've met a lot of people that are overly confident, that don't take accountability. And accountability, we need to like write that out.
Right.
Accountability is so important. And when people are not aware of things that might be hurting other people or just aware of their own actions, that's no good, because how do you learn from that, right? How do you build from that? So is it always the other person's problem? No, it can't be, right? It takes two. So, and I love to be an active learner in this life. So of course I'm going to take accountability if I'm wrong, because I want to learn from those mistakes, essentially. So that's very important to me. The people that I attract and accept into my world has everything to do with who I am and what I've worked on. So what I learned was not accepting certain things that no longer were in alignment with who I was. So a lot of people from my past, guys that I've met, I mean, one of the big things were people that weren't accountable, right? Individuals who were super judgmental, let's say, people that were not willing to actively learn and put things into practice, because that's one thing that I really value. Okay, fine, you don't know this or you don't know how to do that, but what are you going to do to try to change that? Are you willing to change?
What were some of their personal experiences, like actual things that were going on, different types of men that you were meeting?
I mean, I've met a number of men. I mean, narcissists, right? People that can't take accountability or don't want to talk about emotions or even want their ego threatened, right? There was no, they weren't humble, right? Another one was definitely, let's see, people that don't know where they're trying to go, their landmark, what they're trying to do. They're still trying to figure it out. And hey, no, power to them, right? We were all there. We're all trying to figure things out. But just cases like that where it's like, I hope you know what you want, because you really, you have the power within you to get what you want. So, you want people to be driven, and you want them to be striving for their best self.
So how did that reflect back to you? What lessons were there for you to learn about yourself? How did you figure out, like, okay, I should be looking at myself when I'm dating these other people and learning things about me? How did you get there?
Yeah. So when I was starting to create these boundaries, I mean, that was a lesson within itself. Another thing too is I'm a Caribbean woman, so learning vulnerability. The willingness to be open and have this communication, right? The communication that I have with myself, and learning how to give that communication off to an individual that I like. One thing that I learned too were a lot of, not just the things that I was good at, but the things that I still need to improve on. But I'm willing to improve. That's why I like dating so much, because it's a learning experience. If anything, it's not to point the finger at you. It's just to open the door so that you understand where you are, and where you're trying to go, essentially, too.
I like that. So what are your goals for dating now? Giving your new perspectives, you've started dating, you have some experiences. What is your goal for dating now, and how do you date?
So, my goal is to have more fun and not to take it seriously. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be my choice when I'm going to meet my person, when you really think about it, right? Like, I didn't even bring myself on earth, right? And so it's God's plan, right? We've heard this before. And so for me, I just want to make sure that I show up and that I am asking the questions that are very important to me, because what I realized was dating, I mean, when you date, it's a lesson, and it doesn't mean that you're going on a date to find your husband. If anything, it's for you to have a good time and understand this process of finding your person, which is finding yourself, essentially. So to have more fun, dating to me now is to show up, be present, and be happy and grateful for where I am right now. And then also being willing to figure out, okay, how can I improve? And what are some ways where I can challenge myself and overcome some fears and put love in there? Because dating tests you. I mean, it is, it's like douche, douche, douche. Like, you feel, you're like, okay, I don't know. I need like a full on vest right now.
Right,
like,
right.
Whoa, you're coming at me. Whoa, I'm feeling some type of way. I don't know if I'm ready to go out there. I got to put a shield on. I mean, you have to be mentally, physically, spiritually ready, because it will test your ego. Absolutely. And you will unravel more of who you are and what you need to work on.
So I like that you said dating is a lesson. I love that. Because if you really look at it, it is. And you can't be disappointed every time someone disappoints you. You can't be hurt and upset every time you meet someone, there's chemistry and things are going well and it doesn't work out. You have to look at the lesson that I got from this experience. Do you feel like you learned something from every guy that you meet? And what are some recent lessons that you've learned?
I've definitely learned a lot about myself. I mean, one of the biggest thing, honestly, is how Caribbean I really am when it comes to vulnerability and
Yeah.
being emotionally intelligent and having the right vocabulary words to really reflect how I'm feeling. That was one of the biggest lessons for me, and still a challenge for me to articulate, to be honest. Another lesson has to be patience. Learning how to be patient and accept what comes, regardless if it was within my plan or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are like the two main big ones, I would say.
So how do you date? Do you use apps? Do you go to bars? What is your preference?
So I recently changed my ways of dating.
Oh.
And so what I told myself was, I really like the authenticity. So I really like the authenticity of showing up in the world and getting a sense of aura and energy from an individual that potentially could be my person. What I was finding from the apps was, whoa, it's like you have like this dialogue, the right words to say, blah, 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 but you have no idea the energy that they bring, how you might be feeling with them around you, if there's actual chemistry. So for me, the dating app, it's like, how do I catch if we have chemistry or not? So I actually deleted my dating apps.
Wow.
And I will say
Interesting.
it was very liberating because it forced me to show up live in the world. And it pushed me to overcome certain fears of going up to men, right? And even just starting conversations, initiating, doing the work essentially of what I want. And before, I treated apps as, okay, I need to actively work on um, on what is important to me, which is becoming a wife. And so I would just devote some time to be consistent on it. But now I'm realizing, the people I'm finding on there, it's so hard to find whether or not we have chemistry.
Why do you
Chemistry
think,
is so important.
yeah, why do
I
you
mean,
think it's so difficult to get chemistry? Do you like, what do you do in your initial phases? Do you, when you meet someone, you like them, there's a match, what is the initial setup there? Do you immediately hang out? Do you do phone
no.
calls?
So I always do FaceTime or video, always. Are you who you say you are? Nēssa's not about to leave her house and be catfish. No, we're not doing that. So always do a FaceTime. But even with technology of the FaceTime and the texting, I'm not a texter either, right? Like, I'm here for the old-fashioned ways of a phone call. I'm also here for your energy. How does my energy interact with your energy? Do I feel good when I'm around you? Do I feel nervous when I'm around you? Do I feel
Yeah.
comfortable when I'm around you? Like, are you supposed to be around me? Are you supposed to be in my universe, right? And I always like to say universe as you, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so you want to orbit around the right people, and I feel like apps, it's too hard. It's honestly too hard.
It's too difficult, yeah.
But it does work for people. It's just my way and my style, and I like the old-fashioned way of,
Yeah.
if I want to get to know somebody, I'm going to get up and open my mouth and talk to them and get to know who they are.
I'm an energy person too. Like, I can see someone really attractive and think it's going to work out, but when we actually get around each other, you realize, oh my God, our energies just don't match. Like,
It's
it doesn't
so
have to be anything
hard.
you're saying, doing. It's just a feeling there.
Right.
It's a feeling. So what type of men do you date? And what is your vetting process?
I don't really have a type. Or you mean look wise or character wise? Because I'm
Just
looking for character.
whatever. Okay, so you're
Okay.
more of a character person. You don't care about looks at all.
No, I have to be attracted to you.
Okay.
My goodness, how are we gonna have sex if I'm not attracted to you? That's not gonna work. How am I gonna get some babies?
Right.
But I will say that sometimes the character overrides the looks,
Yeah.
right? But that also, you have to keep in mind the chemistry, because when you have chemistry with someone, oh my goodness, like it goes beyond looks. Yes, you're attracted to them, but no, actually scratch that. Scratch all of that. I'm looking for attraction, I'm looking for chemistry, right? But the biggest thing too is I'm looking for a companion who I can build with, essentially. I'm looking for a believer in God or a higher power. I'm also looking to make sure they're just willing and open and communicative, right? Someone that is well immersed in themselves, who's willing to learn more and more of who they are, and just in gratitude. Like, character is everything for me.
Okay.
I mean, the list goes on, don't get me wrong. So it's tricky to think about who I date now, because it's hard to find character. Now, we're not really in crowds, we're not in social spaces like that. So it's a little trickier, but I will say that I don't know. I really see who I'm attracting. I really let my universe tell me what's next. Like, that's how much I really take on life is a lesson, right? And when someone comes up to you, it's more so, okay, let me figure out why this person might be in my life, the importance of this lesson, who I am today, and enjoy that person and just focus on that. So who do I date today? The people that I am well aligned with energy wise, where I have this natural communication with them and I feel comfortable. So I have to go through the emotions and see, like, how do I feel around this person, to be honest.
So what is your vetting process? If you were on a date right now, what questions would you ask? Maybe like 2 or 3 questions would you ask? Or is it more so just you're analyzing the chemistry, the vibe, the aura of this person, or is it both?
Definitely both.
Okay.
Like, how natural are we together? What's going on? Are we having a good time? And, after having those great times, I mean, of course, you're going to be asking those right foundational questions of,
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm like, what do I ask? I don't get too personal in the beginning, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that I ask questions like, what have you learned, living alone? Or,
Really? You go that far?
I mean,
Not to say that's a negative thing. I
no,
love that question. I love that
again,
question.
I'm a deep person naturally.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
would
gonna go.
love for a woman to ask me that on a date. Like, oh, it's so out of the norm of what do you do? Right?
It's like, okay, but that is important.
Right.
But I think what's more important is, honestly, I think the most important question to me, honestly, the first question is, what is your lifestyle? And how do you live your everyday life? What's important to you to make sure that you do by the end of the week?
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So what are some responses that you've gotten from that question alone?
Again, I have not dated. I'm not dating right now. I haven't dated
Really?
no,
Are you taking a break from dating?
no, this is the life we live. Where am I finding these people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going out, but I mean, and I am putting myself out there, but essentially,
Yeah. So LA specifically, do you think it's hard connecting with men in LA because, like you said, everyone's pursuing their dreams, everyone's in the grind of their careers. What has been your personal experiences with men in LA specifically?
Men in LA, a lot of them are still figuring it out
Yeah.
career-wise. A lot of us are implants here. So
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out, or not figure out, or more so maintain a certain lifestyle. And they're so driven by that. And they're also here to have fun because there's so much to do in LA.
Mm-hmm.
There's so, I mean, you have a lot of access to things in LA. Like there's always events going on, festivals, concerts, like my goodness, you name it. You're never really bored in LA. So what I'm seeing now is people are just doing what they need to do for work, having a good time. No, nothing else.
So where does that fall for your dating life? How does that impact you finding the guy that you want? Are you okay with just, casually going out, having good times, or are you looking for someone to be serious with?
I'm definitely looking for someone to be serious with for sure. But
Yeah.
because my goal is to be a wife and to
Yeah.
have children. So I will always have that intention out there and be striving for it. However, am I going to force it? Right? No. Am I going to drive myself crazy to get there? No, because there's a bigger plan that I probably don't see right now, and it will all make sense later on. So yeah, no, I'm not. Listen, I think where we are today, we really have to be cautious with what we're really trying to force. And if it's really meant for us right now, because I truly believe we're in the formula that's right for us right now. Where we are right now is where we're supposed to be. And when opportunities come around, when those challenges come around, take it because you don't know where it'll lead you. So that's where I'm
I
at.
like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to be simple. You don't want to fight. You don't want to go against what's made for you. Yeah, I think that's really important.
So what I've learned from you so far in this really great conversation is dating is a lesson. Don't take it so seriously. Understand that what's supposed to happen for you is going to happen for you in its right timing. Enjoy the process. Things may not always go the way you think they're supposed to go, but that right person is going to be where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be, right?
Yeah, and honestly, it sounds like you're describing what life is.
Yeah, yeah, very true.
It's supposed to be simple, and I just like to think of that simple nursery rhyme. Merrily, 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 right?
Life is but a
Gently
dream.
down the stream,
Right.
right? It's the row, row, row your boat. You're gonna
Mm,
keep working diligently, right? On the intentions and the goals that you really want for yourself. You don't know how it's gonna happen. You don't know when it's gonna happen, but you're gonna keep being intentional about it, and you're gonna be cheerful while going down that stream, right? Merrily, merrily, merrily. And then it's so beautiful because it says to gently go down that stream. And it tells you should be at ease. You shouldn't be confused. You shouldn't be forcing anything. You should be moving at ease, in love, in peace, in harmony. And then another thing too is life is but a dream. So we can't take it too seriously. We still gotta have fun. And we need to treat dating the same way, honestly.
I love that. And on that note, I want to bring you back another time so we can talk about what specific tips you have for women or people that are dating and any help that you can provide, any advice that you can give to help people navigate their dating experiences, because it just sounds like you're so positive and you look at this with such a beautiful lens.
And that's like the number one thing I would advise women today is to be open and optimistic, and understand if it didn't work out for somebody or with somebody, that essentially that's part of the plan. And it's okay. Don't latch onto it, because that's when you start making things more difficult for yourself. And another thing too is be aware of what's going on. Who are the people that you're dating? And see how that really impacts you and who you are. So be very conscious while dating the people that you are enjoying and want to be with, because it does say a lot about who you are. Lastly, women, it's okay to initiate encounters with men. A lot
That's
of
a good
us,
one.
yeah, you have to go for it. Everybody is different, and everyone approaches people differently, but just think of it as you're initiating conversation with a friend or someone that you're really interested in getting to know. When it comes to the gender roles of who goes up first, I mean, let go of it and just be open.
That's really good, especially for us introverts out there who don't really like to approach people first. And
Right.
on
We still
that,
have men who are introverts, right?
yeah, I'm extreme introvert. Like it's social anxiety, and it's yeah, it's it's social anxiety with dating too, meeting people and dating. It's tough. And on that note, we're going to end. I want to bring you back again so we can talk about this and more topics and just life in LA. So thank you so much, Nēssa, for coming. This was a great conversation. And yeah. Any last parting words?
No, I have to say though, guys, thank you if you listened to all of this and you were willing to just hear us out today. I felt very uncomfortable because I've never done this before, but this is me growing. So I appreciate you for taking the time, for real.
Thank you, Nēssa.